Good morning once again. Good to see you guys. I'm waking up, getting ready to hit it for the day. Slept in a little bit. I've been doing that, but none of it matters. No appointments today. We deliver tomorrow, I think 8:30 in the morning, 583 miles to go, and that is that. So hopefully from there we are headed to Chicago, get my reefer trailer. That's it. That's the whole plan. And that's everything we got. So hey, we'll see how it goes. I went in to get my morning cappuccino, and I think we're just off the rails with some things in this country. Extreme caffeine French vanilla cappuccino. Do we really need extreme caffeine? Can we just have the normal level? That sounds ridiculous. Are people buying this? I need more caffeine. I need so much caffeine that my body's shaking. I don't think I get it. I'm not really sure. So anyways, that's what I got. So we've got extreme caffeine French vanilla cappuccino. Sometimes I don't understand the madness, the things we do in this country, that we got to take everything to the extreme. I don't know. We'll see how that works out for me today. But hey, I thought it was going to be like warm out there, and I got out. It was real cold when I was walking up. I guess it's still not quite summer yet, but I thought it was going to be a lot warmer, and it was not. So I had to put on the old trusty jacket. This thing has been through it. I've had this for a few years now, and it is like paper thin now. So definitely going to need a new one by the time winter comes around. But there's really not a whole lot going on here. Very small, quiet truck stop just north of what the hell's that city? Nashville. And Nashville was no fun yesterday. It was no fun at all. I figured, okay, I'm going through in the afternoon. I was gonna stop before it, but I'm like, oh, it's a Saturday, I'll be fine. I was not fine. I'm sure it wasn't as bad as during the week, but it was no fun at all getting through there. But I was surprised that I found this truck stop this close to Nashville. There's spots open in it right now. There were spots open all night. Well, I mean, I wasn't out monitoring the parking lot to see if there were spots open all night, but there sure are some now, and it's just a small place. I guess if you ever need extreme amounts of caffeine, this is a good place to do it. But yeah, I guess there's really not a whole lot going on today. Just driving. I need to find a vape store. And I'm worried I'm not worried about it. It's just kind of a fact of life. But I might have to Uber to one, because I'm not sure about any kind of truck accessible vape store on the route that I'm on. Out west I can find you one, you know, I know where they're at, but over here I don't really know. So I'm nervous to put any more juice in my tank, because I don't want to hear the sound of this bottle being empty. But we're very close. We're very close, and I need to do something about that. So that's the whole agenda today, guys. Not much going on. I could go back to bed. I could. But I got that extreme caffeine, so I'll probably be awake for the next 3 days. Do they just put straight meth in it? Like, you ain't going to bed for a while, son. Don't worry. It's still hot. I'll wait a little while. But yeah, I'm not sure I understand that. Do we really need extreme caffeine? I don't know that we do. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna get to it and get started for the day. See where we end up. Talk to you soon. What's going on there, big time truck driver? You can't park your trucky truck in the roady road like that. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Sure wish you finished training old swufty driver. I don't know what's gotten into me. Must have been all that extra caffeine. Nothing's wrong here. Sorry, Rockin' T, for putting you on blast for absolutely no reason. I was just kind of feeling it, you know. I just wanted to point out all these dang old bonehead truckers I get. He's fine. He's fine. He probably pulled in here late and just needed a place to park. And he is doing just fine. So forgive me for my sins. I meant no harm by it. But, hey, you know, that's the way she goes, So anyways, we are somewhere north of another city I can't seem to figure out how to pronounce, because we have one in Colorado, and we call it Louisville. And then that's obviously been corrected. Said, hey, you have to say it Louisville, which is fine. because Lewis and Louis are both spelled the same, and we pronounce that.
Take the ramp on the right.
We just kill the S.
North
we just kill the
Cincinnati.
S, right? But then they go and change the damn name on you again. You say Louisville to people in Kentucky, and sometimes they'll be like, "Son, are you talking about Louisville?" No, I don't know. I don't know. I have no clue anymore. Why do we do this to each other? Why do we do this? So I can get away with that joke because I have a lot of family in Kentucky. No cousins that will let me take them on a date, though, so that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Good Lord, I'm going to get myself in all kinds of trouble with this video today, ain't I? I will pay for this. Anyways, guys, we're getting back on the road. 410 miles to our destination. What time is it? It's about noon right now, so I don't know how far I'll go. You know, I got to get a whole lot closer than I am now, but we've got Cincinnati coming up in a bit. I'd sure like to get out past that.
Continue,
and then we'll kind of look at where we're at. It's 8:30 in the morning, delivery, and I'd probably rather not drive more than 4 or 5 hours in the morning. So we'll see how it all works out. I don't know. Just being a big time truck driver out here, you know how I do. You know how I do. So anyways, just got out of the shower with the only temperature being hot AF. Hot AF was the only temperature you could get out of that thing, but beats cold. Cold's a real nightmare. So hey, we've got 70 miles to Cincinnati, it looks like, and we're gonna get out here and get her done, folks. So yeah, it must have been that extreme caffeine, man, because I am really bringing too much heat to this video. That's what's happening. I'm gonna be exhausted at the end of the day bringing all this energy. So anyways, what else we got going on? Nothing really, I guess. It's just trucking. I might talk a little bit at the end of the video about my escape from the corporate world that I recently did, because today's boring and there's nothing to talk about. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll get with you guys later. We'll talk about that. See ya. All right, welcome back, everyone. On last night's video, I felt like I was talking like 900 miles per hour. So I'm conscious of that now today, and I feel like I need to slow it down, relax a little bit, and try to remember the words I'm going to use. Was I talking really fast on yesterday's video? I rarely go back and watch them, but I went back and watched that one, and it felt like I was just tearing through my words, just high speed. Anyways, I want to get back to my Louisville versus Louisville debate that obviously was raging on in my head today, and you guys didn't get to be a part of that. You just heard me whining about it earlier. And I really needed to come to terms with this argument and figure out how is it really said. So I turned to two very wise men, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, who said, if you believe in the S, you will be relieving your stress. So with that said, people of Kentucky, I would probably just start pronouncing it Louisville and achieve a level of zen that you never even thought possible. That's my 2 cents on that, okay? Okay, so the debate's settled. If you believe in the S, you will be relieving your stress. And that's all we need to know about this argument. So, I have yet again solved another one of the world's problems. You're welcome. I'm here to serve. And we have done that. So what do we got going on today? We got 138 miles left to go. I still had time I could have drove. I have 3.5 hours still I could drive. I could have gotten there, right? But when you get further towards the northeast area, you know, parking starts to get a little bit sketchy. So I figured, you know what? It's due at 8:30 tomorrow morning. I'll get up, be rolling by like 5:30, let's say, and we'll be there about an hour early. That's how we're gonna do it. So that is the plan. That's what we want to do about it, and hey, that's where we're at. So it's 5 p.m. now. Forgot about the time change, you know, time zones, but I've already crossed that, so I'm in the correct time zone now, and that is awesome. So I wanted to talk a little bit today. Some days as a trucker are so incredibly boring that I don't find opportunities for footage for you guys or things to do, and I haven't been leaving the truck a whole lot. So I know when I came back out on the road, we had the cool video where I was asking the motel guy if I could park there. The guy that was refusing to sign my paperwork for detention, that has not come up again yet. So there's not always content, is the point, as a truck driver, because some days, most days, are just incredibly boring. So what I want to talk about today is, as most of you know, I left trucking, we're getting around 8-9 months ago now. I got rid of the truck I had, and I went home, and I was working towards a computer science degree. I haven't mentioned it lately because I have put that on hold right now. I'm allowed to do that. You know, I was hitting it hard for 4.0 GPA, got about 15 credits into it, 18 credits, somewhere in there. And between doing this now and doing school, and I do want to continue to grow the YouTube channel. I've always said, I know it's cool to say on YouTube that you don't care if your channel grows and you don't care if anybody watches and all that stuff, but I genuinely do care. I love doing YouTube. I love getting on here and talking, and sometimes it's frustrating as you grow a channel. You know, what I learned from last time, I'll get to the point when I get to it, right? But what I learned from last time is I've got to have a much thicker skin than I did before. You know, I was running a very small channel that seemingly exploded overnight, and I was not used to people talking to me in such a way. And as you grow a channel, the more, with every subscriber you gain or every view you gain, it opens up the potential for like all the trolling and all that nonsense. So I obviously have to be better this time and not worry about it. And I'm not worrying about it. I get trollish comments every day, and I really don't mind too much. Sometimes, oh, that hurt my feelings. Why would they say that about me? And then I remember, it's just the internet. It's kind of how we act here, you know. But the point of that was, I do genuinely care about growing a YouTube channel. I do genuinely care about figuring out what the hell I'm doing next in trucking. You know, am I going to buy a truck? What is my next move, right? And sometimes the moves are subtle, of course, like all I'm doing this coming week is switching trailers from a dry van to a reefer. Seems subtle, but it could equal quite a bit more money, right? So sometimes the moves are subtle. But the whole point with that was, I was really not able to make time for school right now. I can always go back, I can always revisit it and things like that. Say this trucking thing just goes to hell on me. I get injured. I mean, geez, hopefully that doesn't happen, right? Because, you know, providing for a family here, I kind of need to keep trucking, you know. But I mean, those things are possibilities, and I can always revisit the school thing at a later time. So it's just on hold, that's it. But as you know, I left trucking and went back into the IT field. I was a level 1 IT guy for years before I was a truck driver, about a decade. I never really tried hard. I never really advanced in my career or anything like that. I was content to just stay a level 1 guy where things were easy for me, and I didn't really have to answer to anyone except jerk off customers, you know, that ask the same questions every day, that can be fixed most of the time by turning the damn thing off and turning it on again, you know. But when I left trucking this last time, I did go back into that, right? And obviously I've talked about this before. The main reason, the biggest reason I came back to trucking is because the money just sucked. But there's a lot more to it than that. The money was just awful compared to what you can make in a truck. And of course, doing a lease purchase, sometimes we have really bad weeks out here too. That happens. But hey, when you hit, you hit out here. You know, when you have a good week, you just have a good week, and all of that is great. The problem I was really having was adapting to corporate culture again. It has changed a lot since I've been in it, but it hasn't gotten better. As a matter of fact, it's only gotten worse. My first job, I had 2 jobs when I was home. They were both supposed to be stepping stones to something better, but both of them just ended up being very terrible. And the first one was tech support for, you know, those kiosks you see around, kiosks, you know, kiosks. They're all over the place. I think Pilot has some kiosks. I think Love's has some kiosks. The self-order kiosk at fast food restaurants, at the airport. An ATM is kind of a kiosk, right? And I was doing tech support for those. Don't worry about the company, it doesn't matter. But the company is big, and they've been doing this forever, right? But they were so incredibly unorganized. They didn't have any documentation on how to troubleshoot their stuff, and you just had to figure it out as you go, which was fine. I kind of enjoyed that challenge, right? Not a big deal. That was kind of a cool part of it. But I couldn't stand going to an office, man. Like, it got to a point, and probably like 2 weeks into it, where I was driving up to that office and I just wanted to cry. Like, oh my God, I cannot stand that I have to sit here all day today when I could be doing anything else in the world. But the corporate culture is the most infuriating thing. I had a boss at that first company. Middle management is always the worst. These guys are on a mission to prove how amazing they are at all times, and they email constantly, and they text constantly, and they want to have meetings constantly, just so they can sit there and hear the sound of their own goddamn voice, and everybody's supposed to ooh and ah and be, oh my God, I'm so impressed by this middle manager. This is just so amazing. And you never accomplish anything because you spend all your time listening to this middle-aged man just waste your time nonstop. And corporate speak is a tough thing to deal with. I had a customer that was very irate about something that had happened before I even worked there. This was a repeating thing at that company. I would get cases thrown at me for stuff that like started way before I even worked there, and they'd be like, this case has gone to level 2, it's gone to level 3, it's gone to the supervisors, it's gone to our outside vendors that do tech support on this and that, and none of us could figure it out. But hey, new guy, go get this done, right? And I had a angry email, just an irate customer, and they just typing angrily, and nothing about it was making sense to me. And I turned around, my supervisor's office is right behind me, and I was like, bro, I don't know what's going on with this, right? This is the email I got, this is what they're saying. And he's like, okay, so what's the ask here? And I said, what? He said, what is the ask here? And I said, what? I said, bro, what are you saying to me? What's your question? And he goes, yeah, what's the question? And I'm like, is that how you speak? You're the middle management smart guy that everybody's supposed to look up to and admire at all times, and you ask questions like you're a toddler? Did you just say, what's the ask? What's wrong with what's your question, or what's the question? But it was just constant nonsense like that. You had to speak in certain words for people to even respect what you were saying, for them to even listen to what you were saying. And it's stuff that, like, when my kids were little kids, that's how they would have spoke to me. What's the ask here? What do you want? What do you want me to say? That was really stressful because I wasn't fitting in, because I've been a truck driver for years now. And I know I've given truck drivers a lot of hell, but for the most part, they say what they mean to say. It's not like a goddamn riddle, you know, like trying to figure out what, well, sometimes it really can be. Sometimes it can be. But for the most part, truck drivers say what they mean to say. They ask what they mean to ask. And there's this whole corporate lingo that exists that makes absolutely no sense to me. And why corporations or the people working in them have dedicated all this time to coming up with an actual language that only they speak reminds me of using a CB. Like, what are we doing? Why do we have to figure this out? What's wrong with using the words everyone else uses and communicating efficiently and directly straight to the point, instead of you got a guy standing there going, I don't know what any of this means. Well, if you don't know what I'm saying, that's his problem. No, that's your problem. If you can't figure out how to effectively communicate with your audience, it's a you problem, right? And that was the biggest thing that drove me crazy. It just drove me nuts how they spoke to each other, but like the constant meetings all the time. We need to have a meeting to discuss this. We need to have a meeting to discuss that. And all these meetings could have just been done in an email, you know, but we just stop the whole day, just stop being productive just to do whatever nonsense. So the second job is the company I actually worked for before I became a truck driver, the one that laid me off, that led to me getting a CDL. I saw they were hiring, and I'm like, you know what? If I jump in there, I got a good feeling I could move up really quick in this company, because they're still using the same stuff I was working on when I was there, when I was tech support for them years ago. Now I'm an older man. When I was younger, I was intimidated by moving up in those jobs. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be the middle manager conducting meetings and stuff like that. But I wouldn't be. I'd be the middle manager that lets you do your effing job. Trying to keep it a little cleaner for YouTube. You know, trying to keep it a little cleaner. They did back off their no cussing policy that was getting people demonetized, so that's good, but it still doesn't help the algorithm. On the channel I care about growing, if you, you know, kind of go off the rails with stuff like that. Anyways, so they hired me, which was fantastic. They were happy to have me back. A lot of people that I worked with before still work there, and that was awesome, right? And they even sent me, because they're based in New York somewhere, and Hartford? Is it Hartford, or is that Connecticut? It's either Hartford or New Hartford, one of the two. But whichever one's in New York is where they're based. They closed their Colorado call center years ago. So they sent all the stuff to my house. That was fantastic. A laptop, 2 big monitors, you know, little headset so I could do my job. Everything I needed to do my job. And I sat in my little corner. You guys know the corner. Oh yeah, you're familiar with the corner. Y'all have seen it many, many times. People that have been around the channel for a while. Or the old channel, let's say. This channel just once so far. But I got to work at home, and I sat in my little corner, and it was fantastic, right? I had to do a month of training. Oh, it was brutal. Oh, it was absolutely brutal. Sitting there in Zoom meetings all day, listening to like some condescending 23-year-old girl talk about how she was such a brilliant tech that this company made her the trainer, and she's just going to talk down on you for the first 2 weeks. The second 2 weeks you were on the phones with on a Zoom call and on the phones with a senior tech, you know, helping you along, right? But she was awful, and she talked down on everyone. If you didn't know the answer to a question, she would laugh at you in the middle of class. She would just laugh hysterically, maniacally, I would say. Hysterically is long gone. This was maniacal at this point. She was insane. And just one of the most condescending people I've ever met in my life. You're just such a brilliant tech that they made you you're teaching the class. Oh my God, what an accomplishment. I mean, good for you for advancing in your job, but why talk down on other people, right? I got through that month though. I didn't even have to go through the full month. You know why? Because my first few days on the phone with the senior tech listening in on my calls and helping me out, he went, this dude's, he already knows. Didn't you say he worked here before? Let him loose. Let him go, right? Hell yeah, they did. My supervisor went and listened to all my calls, looked at all my case notes, said, this dude's ready to hit the floor. Let's go, right? He gets with me, he says, dude, you're gonna move up so quick in this company. Oh, you're gonna move up fast. You're already above the level 1 techs we got here. I'm like, you know, don't make a big deal out of it. I have worked here before. I worked there for 7 years. Sure, I needed a refresher. But once all that information started flooding back into my tiny little trucker brain, it started to make sense to me again. So we're about a month into it, right? I'm needing a raise. I'm needing money. Or I'm needing to get back on the road, one of the two. And I expressed that to my supervisor. And he says, dude, we're ready to move you up. You're ready for level 2. Now this job was only paying $19 an hour. The job before was paying $21 an hour, but I had an hour commute every day. By the time you take out that commute, I was making a little bit, or keeping a little bit more money by making $19 an hour, right? You're ready for level 2. And that pays $24 an hour. Ooh. Now that ain't great money. Not in Colorado. But that's $5 more an hour, baby. Come on, let's get it. Let's get it. I'm ready for level 2. He said, so there's only one more thing you got to do, because we've had level 2 techs looking at your calls. We've had their supervisors looking at your calls, and you've got what it takes, Josh. You've got what it takes. So all we need you to do is make it to your 6-month mark and we're going to promote you to level 2. And I said, why? If I'm ready for level 2 right now, what are we waiting for? He says, well, everybody has to be here a minimum of 6 months before we move them up. And I said, why is that? He said, because we have to make sure you're on the level to be ready to move up. And I said, didn't you already do that? He said, oh yeah, and you're on the level. You're ready, dude. You're ready for level 2. I said, okay, so are we still back at this 6-month thing? He said, yep. Because it's unfair to the other techs if you move up after being here for a month, if they, you know, don't have that opportunity. I said, well, to me, it sounds like a pretty arbitrary number, 6 months. What changes in that 6 months? Either you got it or you don't. Now, it might take people 6 months to get there. But keep in mind, I did spend 7 years working for this company before, right? I think it's a little bit of an arbitrary number. If a guy's ready to go, he's ready to go, right? He said, yeah, man, my hands are tied. Can't do anything. Not till you've hit that 6-month mark. I can't do anything. So I told him, I said, well, I'm not in the greatest spot financially. I'm going to be honest with you. And I do have options. I can always jump back in that truck. Everybody always says it, right? Hold on to your CDL. You'll never know when you might need it. I said, but I got to make money. I got to make money. How about this? You can't promote me right now. Can you guarantee me 50 hours a week? I'm doing my standard 40. Can you guarantee me 50? He says, oh no, I can't guarantee anything like that. I said, okay. So nothing's going to happen for like 6 months. Well, it was 5 months at that point, right? He says, you know, nothing's going to happen, man. He said, you're on that day, you're getting promoted. You're straight up to level 2. I said, okay. I said, well, do me a favor, supervisor. Talk to your boss. Talk to anyone you need to. Make an exception, because I have been here for all these years. Make an exception. Because you're probably going to lose me. I need to make money. And I know I put myself in this spot. I know I did. But I do need to make money. And I knew I could come in here and I could do it. He said, we can't help you. We can't do nothing for you. I said, okay. Then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get in that damn truck. And I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm going to start with nothing. But the results of my work, the results of my decision making will become immediately clear to me as those decisions are happening. When I say it's going to take me probably a year to buy a truck, that's not an arbitrary number. I need a down payment, right? If I do it before that, say I've got this $30,000 goal, $20,000 down on the truck, $10,000 in case anything breaks down before I start making any money with it. If I have it before that, you won't see me waiting a year to promote myself. You won't see it happen. Or you know, 6 months. The minute I'm able to do it, I'm going to do it. And maybe that's like a little bit self-centered of me, or there's probably a whole lot of words that people would use. Like, I am entitled, maybe, to a promotion, or any number of these things. But in my opinion, that's where a lot of these companies fail, is they have a guy or girl or whoever that's just like a very good performer, an overachiever, if you will, and then they lose them to absolutely arbitrary deadlines that have nothing to do with anything at all. And then they repeat the cycle and they go hire a new class of people to come in and sit through training with a condescending 23-year-old that knows everything apparently. And then by the time they get through their full month of all that nonsense, they're ready to quit. They're like, I've had it. I'm done with this. So it's an interesting cycle, but the point of the story is I really just don't think I fit in corporate America anymore. I can't make all their nonsense make sense in my head. And to me, it feels like a waste of time to sit there and go through the motions day in and day out. And then it's very rare that anything happens, you know. Raises are very rare. Promotions, very rare. There's only so far you can go, you know, and that's why I'm here. Because even when I screw up out here, I get to choose my own destiny. I'm playing on my rules for the most part. I mean, there's a lot of things I would rather have going a different way. But as long as I keep working towards that, I can visualize those things happening. I'm not at the mercy of anyone in this industry. Only myself. I'm the only person that can stand in my way. And stupid things like getting too many tickets or some nonsense like that, which is me. That's my fault. But if I can say, I need this much money to be able to get my own truck, well, then when I get my own truck, that just produces more money. So then maybe I want my own trailer at that point. Well, it's easier to come up with that money because, one, trailers are cheaper than trucks, I think, right? And the down payment's going to be a whole lot less on that, I think. But I've got this truck that's generating all that money for me, right? I can visualize it. I can plan for it. I can do a number of things that you just can't do in a corporate world because you are at the mercy of everyone else above you that's making all the decisions. And trucking may be the final frontier of you getting to make your own decisions. There's all kinds of ways to do business ownership out there. There is. But this is the one I know, right? And I get to make the decisions. And I get to deal with the failures. And I get to enjoy the successes. And to me, that's what makes this sometimes a really, really beautiful industry. And hey, I needed to go home. I needed to get my head straight and learn a lot about myself. If ever I'm on YouTube talking to you guys about how I want to get a tech support job again, I'm going to need y'all to check me and say, hey, remember last time, dummy? Last time you tried to do that? You came right back to the truck. That's just the way she goes. I talk long enough. See you guys soon.